We're going to get a concert of sorts in just a few minutes, and it potentially can make you feel good, make you feel better. If you or somebody you know is suffering from chronic illness, cancer, other challenges, even emotional challenges, sounds can be a game changer. And she is a sound healer helping people all the time. And Barb McIntosh, Barb Sounds, is back with us. Welcome, Barb. How you doing?
Thanks, Steve. I'm good. I'm good.
Great to have
Very
you
well.
back here. And I know we're
Yeah.
last time we talked, we didn't do it by Zoom, so I didn't get a chance to see your setup and studio. So definitely want to go down that road of what those bowls do and how they work. But
Sure.
why don't we talk about things that sound can help people heal from?
Sure. That is the most important part. And we went through, last time we went through all the scientific part. So here's what it does. If I play any of these harmonic instruments, bowls or gongs or crystal bowls or whatever,
Hmm.
basically this is what it does in your body. It encourages deep relaxation and puts your body into parasympathetic state. That's the healing state, right? Where there's no danger, there's no stress, there's no anything. And it also stimulates our bodies to produce nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is a miracle chemical in our bodies. And what it does is it starts to open your blood vessels. It increases the efficiency of your cells. It regulates your blood pressure, lowers your cholesterol, gives you reduced risk of stroke and heart disease, reduces inflammation. And the other thing that it can do is it can rejuvenate, repair, and bring rapid growth to both our red blood cells and our white blood cells. And then it
Wow.
boosts your immune system. So that thing all by itself is worth listening to these kinds of sounds. You know, if
My,
if if, if you don't need all the other stuff, but if you look at those things that I just went down that list, um, think of how many medications people are on to control all that kind of stuff, right? Where you can do regular sound baths. And, I'm not saying that it, would replace the medications, but it certainly can help you, in much more comfortable and no side effect ways. Because that's the other thing is that sound healing doesn't have any side effects except for, self empowerment and self healing. Now, what it does with your mind, and these are the kind of emotional things. It also puts your mind into relaxation. So it puts you into the theta brain waves that meditators meditate for 25 years to get to. And in that state, you experience less anxiety, less depression, less pain and secondary pain, less fear and overwhelm. You experience more calm and hope. You sleep like a log, sleep like a baby after, sometimes for several days. You have less damage from chronic stress. And when you're dealing with difficult transitions in your life or difficult emotions such as grief, it's super good for that, for grief. And again, it's working at a cellular level and it's just bringing all your cells back and giving your body the space, the sacred space and the sound space for you to be able to heal. So it's awesome.
wow.
Yeah.
Let's go back to what you said a moment ago in that it puts your body in a healing state. I was never aware of that. I always thought that the vibrations just do something to help you heal. But to me, it almost sounds as if it's like the key to open the door to healing.
It's totally the key, Steve. You got it right on because I have another sort of little list of what I know that my sound healing practice does for people. And it helps people learn like what deep body relaxation feels like. Like we don't know what that feels like because we're walking around our whole lives with our all the muscles in our body tensed up and what I mean. When it gets worse and you get severe back pain or something, then you notice it. But
Mm.
I remember going to one of those floating baths for the first time decades ago when they first came up. You know, when you're
Yep.
floating in salt water.
Hmm.
And I was lying in that salt water and I had incredible pain in my whole entire body. And at first I thought, this is not good. Like, this is supposed to be relaxing. And then I thought, this is the pain that I'm feeling, which is every day that my body just, my mind doesn't pay attention to because all my muscles in my body, I'm walking around my whole life with them all tensed up. And so sound healing, especially when you do it regularly, and you can be doing a specific individual session with me to focus on something, right? So if you're in cancer treatment, we can do stuff that will help with pain, it will help with nausea, you know, it will help get you out of the sympathetic nervous state, which your body goes into through all of cancer treatment. And I know this from personal experience. So that's why it's one of my specialties. Because your body is on fight or flight. Your body is dying when you're in cancer treatment, and your body knows it. And so your body is in fear. So you can't sleep, you know, you can't eat. It's incredibly challenging, and sound healing can super help with that. But you can also learn what your mind feels like when it's relaxed. So people try to learn how to
Mm.
meditate, but how can you learn to meditate when you just like, okay, sit on the cushion and breathe and close your eyes? That doesn't do it for anybody, because we have no idea what it feels like for our brain to slow down. And the sound healing lets you feel what it's like for your brain to slow down. So then when you go sit on the cushion, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm getting there. Like, okay, I'm almost there, you know? Which it's useless to tell people to meditate by sitting on the cushion and breathing. In my opinion, it's really hard, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
But
still haven't mastered it. Barb, still working on it.
well, you
And
should come to some
actually,
of my sound baths and you'll be good. You'll be good to go.
is that state of where you completely, you know, I'm trying to think of the best description. Shut down. Shut down in a good way, where you're just like, I'm here to receive, you know, healing and everything. Is it that feeling you get when you go for a massage? And, you know, at first when you're on the table, you're like, I'm trying to relax. And as it's going on, maybe 20 minutes in, you're like, oh, all right. I could probably
Yeah.
fall asleep. But this feels good. And I'm just like, is it
Yeah.
sort of the same kind of thing?
It's the same kind of thing, only it's much more powerful.
Mm.
The only other thing that I can compare it to is I had a shiatsu massage one time, and I was so, because I don't like being pummeled, you know, that just makes my muscles tense up. But the shiatsu was lovely, and I could just feel everything letting go in my body. And it was in the guy's house. He was working from home, and when I left, I wobbled out to his front steps and I sat down, and I had to sit there for 20 minutes because I couldn't walk because I was so relaxed. And one of the things I do in my sound bath, because the same thing happens in sound baths and sessions, is I let people know when the sound is over, but then I encourage them to stay in that nice still point that you're in, physically and mentally and emotionally and everything, and just stay there, because we don't get to
Mm.
feel that very much. And right now, I'm doing group sound baths and individual sessions with people, and I'm doing it virtually over Zoom. And I have clients who've been to many in-person ones, and with my sound now as good as it is, they're like super happy doing it virtual. And you know why? Because they don't have to get up and drive home or take the subway or
Mm.
go out to dinner. Like my clients, when they're coming on a, you know, a group sound bath, everybody's like lying in their reclining chairs with blankets on them, and you know, they've got their headphones on. Headphones are good, the best thing to wear, because
Sure.
it puts the
Intimate.
vibration actually in your body.
Hmm.
um my sister comes to them and she's got a ginormous TV, and they like putting it on the TV speaker so that the whole room vibrates. But what they all say that they love, people who were coming to my in-person ones before COVID and everything, they're just like, at the end of it, they all say like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to go anywhere. I can just like, you know, crawl into bed. Because then you can, or just lie in your chair, you know,
Yeah,
for
I totally
hours
get that. And
after.
I never thought of the value of that because we all want to be connected with somebody. You know, sometimes virtually, we're so used to doing it, COVID and all that. It's nice to be in the presence of a human, but the benefit is you were here, now you're here. Oh, I got to take the keys out and get in the car, and now I'm back on the highway. And it's like So this is
Hmm.
you can enjoy the after effects longer. I think I shared with you the first time we talked, but I was so impactful for me, and I just want to make sure that others feel what I felt in terms of description. But I never got this whole sound thing. The sound bowls, all right, great, you know, hit sounds, whatever, until I experienced it, and I experienced one hit of a gong. I went to a cacao ceremony, which is pure chocolate from the rainforest.
Hmm.
I believe the most magnesium anything on the planet, has euphoric properties. You can think clear. It puts you in a good meditative state. That was the intent of the session that I went to. My friend made the appointment. So, "Hey, let's go." I'm like, all right, whatever. Before anything happened, we all sat down, about 15 of us in the room. And to begin the ceremony, somebody hit the sound bowl and just, and that's was my wake up. Immediately, I felt the sound go right through me, almost like a bullet. I'm like, oh, now I get what this is all about. And that was one sound. I can't
Yeah.
imagine all of them going on.
Yeah. You're pretty much, it actually, you know what, no matter how anxious a person is or how much they don't believe in what I'm doing, because somebody dragged them to the sound bath.
Hmm.
When I was first starting out, because I was curious, because there's not a lot of, information and writing and training, or at least there wasn't when I started, about 15 years ago. And so I would time the amount of time from when I started to play to when the person started to snore, because most people snore in a
Hmm.
sound bath. And it's an odd kind of thing for people because they're snoring, they can hear snoring, they don't necessarily know it's them, they
Yep.
don't really care,
Yep.
and they just go on. So the longest time that any client ever took to go like right out was about 3 minutes. Everybody else is gone like before that. And
Hmm.
she was like just so anxious and so stressed, and she was afraid of it because she didn't understand what was happening, and she didn't listen to my explanation because she was too scared, and and whatever. And I also had one client once who, similar to my story about the floating thing, she was really keen on my sound bath. She wanted to do a private one. She brought all her friends, right? And when I was finished the sound bath, everybody was sort of sharing, how they felt, and they were all like really super relaxed, and it was amazing. And, they could feel things healing. Lots of times they had no more pain. And she was sitting in the chair, not saying anything. And then everybody looked at her and she said, "Oh my God, Barb, that was so painful. I just felt such pain in my body." And everybody looked at her like, "What is the matter with you?" Right. But she was very much anxious, but also she was a person who in her mind, she thought she was relaxed, but she was really, really big into her whole body, just tensed up all the time. And so what
Hmm.
happened was when her body all of a sudden just went and let go, the muscles were kind of like, and that was painful for her.
Mm.
But, other than that, most people, I mean, that's two people out of all the clients I've had in 15 years. And, you know,
And that's an isolated situation at that.
hmm
That's something
hmm
different, because and I would assume shortly thereafter, your muscles would get used to the fact that, oh, we relaxed. But what you
yeah,
just said, the sleeping thing, I've done chakra balancing and Reiki.
yep,
And
okay,
80% of the time I fall asleep. It's so
yeah,
funny what you said. I don't believe I snore. However, when I fell asleep during those treatments,
you
I
did,
was snoring and I could
yeah.
hear myself snoring and I know I'm doing it, but I don't really care.
And you don't
And,
care. That's the
and,
beauty of it because you're so relaxed, right?
hmm and I was with
And
somebody too. And she even said, yeah, you were snoring. And I was like, I was. I'm like, oh, you know what? Now I think about it, I was. And it's weird. It's almost you're in a maybe a 10% conscious state, and the rest you're completely out,
well,
but you're aware.
yeah, you're actually, I mean, part of it is just the letting go of our mind and our body together.
Mm,
So, I mean, I wouldn't say you were in a reduced state. I would say you were in an expanded state
okay.
because we live in a reduced state, like energy wise. We live with our energy all like clenched up. We don't let go of it. We don't move it. We don't let it flow, which is why things like the chakra healing and Reiki, I'm a Reiki master as well. Um, And so my playing is very Reiki informed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so when you're doing any of those things, your body letting go and your mind letting go gives you that big space. Like you are in infinite space. We call it sacred space, or the still point sometimes, because the still point is that your body is very still and relaxed, and your mind is very still and relaxed. And so you're in that singular still point, which is very teeny and little. So you might think of it as being reduced, but that's what connects us to everything, to
Mm.
all other energy and all other beings in the entire cosmos outside of galaxies we don't even know exist. And that's
Wow.
healing. Just to be
Mm.
that. And it's people, people can have like absolutely no sense of spirituality or connection in themselves when they start. And if they do sound baths regularly, or even if they do just a couple, they wind up, sometimes people have visions and stuff like that, but they more just get a kind of a sense. It's a connection, it's a closer connection to your own intuition, to your higher self or your soul, and to, courage and strength and things that you didn't think you had, right?
Yeah.
So it also gives you like more confidence in yourself, and more ability to find ways of coping with whatever is happening in your life.
I feel all of that energy healing, and sound is energy.
Yeah.
Um, you're more connected with yourself. If you
Y-
create a connection. I am looking at the clock. I don't want us to run out of
Oh
time.
my gosh. We're
I
almost
have,
at the end.
yeah,
Okay.
so we
Well,
have
I'm going
time,
to
but
turn my microphone off. You know what I'm going to
sure.
do if you want, because we got 5 minutes left, right?
Um, yeah, maybe like 6.
6 minutes left. By the time we finish this discussion, it'll be 5 minutes. I'm going to switch on to the sort of main view of my whole studio,
Oh, okay, great.
so that you can actually see more of it when I'm playing. And I'm going to just do you a little 5-minute sound bath.
Oh, wow, cool.
And I'll just play whatever instruments come to me.
It'd be great.
How about that?
Wow. Oh,
Okay.
fantastic.
So you
Looking
can
forward.
watch. You
Hmm.
can watch her at any time if you want. You can close your eyes too, but I mean, you'll be interested in watching it, but you will still get relaxed anyway. All right.
Barb,
Yep.
uh, apologies in advance
Yeah.
in case I start snoring.
Oh, I actually like it when, you know what, Steve? I would love it if you snore, because it means that your body has actually let itself
Yeah,
relax and your mind hasn't gotten in there to be bossy and tell it not to. It'd be
that's the
perfect.
difference in this type of performance. Other performers want applause. In Barb's situation, if you snore, that means you appreciated the performance.
Yeah. And you have to mostly have people lying down just so that they don't fall over. I
Sure.
did a concert where I was one of 2 gong players, with the world gong master John Conroe in Toronto here after our training, and people were sitting in the church pews, and some of them kind of fell over,
Wow.
like just on the other person, next to them. All right, so let's do a 5-minute, well, maybe 4-minute sound bath.
Awesome.
Okay. There we go.
Wow. Interesting how watching you do that, and I don't recall ever seeing it being done. You don't even have to strike them hard. And the amount of energy
Mm-mm.
that comes out is just, well, just all encompassing.
Yeah.
Mm.
The big blue one in the middle. Let me go back to the other thing here quick. We can talk more about them in the next podcast, but this one here, which
Hmm.
is like got this beautiful blue and gold and everything artwork on the front of it. That one, you tap it lightly once, and then you can just stand there for 5 minutes while it goes, right?
Wow. Are you
So,
and we like in future podcasts we can dig deeper and
mhm.
and hit up some more sound, but are you knowing where on the surface to hit to give us certain frequencies?
That's a really good question, and I can only speak for how I play, and I play very intuitively. Like it's so when you're doing Reiki, when somebody's doing Reiki on you, they move their hands in different places in your body depending on what energy they feel. And I play the instruments like that. So
Hmm.
I don't play them with my mind. I mean, when I took gong training with Don Conroe, we spent maybe 15 minutes on the different kinds of mallet strikes you can do, and that was it. And the rest of it was just how do you be with the energy of your instruments and how do you let that come out. So when I was first learning how to play, and even sometimes when I'm playing for people, I can play with my eyes closed. And
Mm.
actually, that's really good. If my mind is too much trying to take over, I shut my eyes, and then my mind does not make any decisions. Like my mind does not say,
Wow.
"Oh, play it over there," because that was a good sound. Because when you hit the gong at the same place in the same time, 2 minutes after you have already hit it there, it makes a different sound.
Wondered about that. And
Yeah.
we're out of time, but I just wanted to share this memory that you just brought back. And I experienced this and not knowing what I was experiencing
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s. And I was interviewing Linda Ronstadt.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember her? So many songs. It's so
Oh
easy.
yeah. She was
You're
great.
no good.
Yeah.
She has since, because of health reasons, kind of pulled out of the music thing years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But she was in front of me, had a glass of water sitting there on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
And she started taking, and you did basically the same thing on a larger scale. She took her finger and she started going around the
Yeah.
outside of the glass, and it produced a noise. And I felt almost relaxed, like, ah, yeah, it's Linda Ronstadt in front of me. OMG. And I'm like, that's gonna be good. What are you doing?
No,
I'm
I'm
just
chill.
producing some sounds. She might have been even psychologically doing that to just bring things down,
Yeah.
but the sound that it produced, and her finger was a little bit wet going around the outside, kind of
Yeah.
the same thing that you did with the, what do
Yeah.
you call this that you hit it with?
Mallets. They're mallets.
Mallet. Okay. You
Yeah.
took the mallet around one of the larger bowls and went around the outside to produce a
Yeah.
sound. And yeah, that was 30 years ago. I, experienced that in a different way, but how cool. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
there's things I think in some of the other podcasts we'll get a little bit more into things you can do at home, but just
hmm,
to leave our viewers with something, things that you do without having to buy all this equipment and learn how to do it is humming. Humming is one of the
hmm.
best sound healing that you can do. You don't hum a song that you know because that makes your brain think about it. You just hum random stuff and it vibrates your whole facial cavity, which is where you get supreme production of nitric oxide, which does all those wonderful things, the same as the gongs. So it's like having a mini gong
Wow.
inside your head. So you just hum randomly and it works.
Final question on that.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the same concept of the ohm? Like,
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
wow.
you can do Om, but I when I was a kid, I used to hum all the time, and I didn't even know I was doing it. And I think it was like a self-soothing thing, right? And
Mm.
I'd be in a store, and people would say, "Are you humming?" And I'd be like, "Oh, yeah." But the grocery store where I go to, there's one cashier, and she is humming to herself a random tune that she's just making up. Um, every time I go there, and she is the happiest person probably in the city. She does it all the
Ah,
time, all day long.
yeah.
She doesn't care if people are mean to her. She's just like,
And people probably think, They probably think that she's blocking them out with that. The same thing as, you see somebody wearing headphones and they're just like, oh, they don't want to be a part of everything else. No, there's probably a reason they're listening to something. Or in her case, she's just making herself
Yeah.
feel good by
And you know
doing
what?
that.
She's not humming loud. Like, I think most
No,
people are probably so hurried and stressed they don't even notice. I do because I'm a sound healer.
right.
But she's humming like you would hum to a baby, like hum a lullaby to a baby. It's just
Fantastic.
when I always get her, I always try to get her because I just stand there while she's doing my groceries and go,
And you're
you
probably
feel it?
relaxed too, just
Yeah,
like the sound
that's
and a
it.
different.
Exactly.
Wow. How do we find you
You
online?
can find me. You can find me online for my public events. You might want to start with a group sound bath. So go to barbsounds.eventbrite.ca and you can get tickets there and see all the dates of the upcoming sounds.
Wow.
You can email me at barbsounds3@gmail.com. You can call me toll free from anywhere in Canada and the US at 437-291-1485. And
Fantastic.
if you want to see all the different sort of specialties I have, because we haven't talked about that, go to heal.me, heal is in healing.me, /barbsounds. And
Wow.
that's where you can book private things too.
Thank you, Barb.
You're
Fantastic. I got
welcome.
to tell you,
Great.
that was could be one of the fastest moving podcasts I've ever done. Like looking at the clocks, like, how did we get there? How do
I
we
don't
get
know
where
how
we
many,
are
yeah.
now? We're out of time. Honestly, gotta
Okay.
go because
Okay.
we're going to be over time.
No
Looking forward
worries.
next time we
Great.
get a chance to talk. Thank you
Okay.
so much. All right.
Thanks.